Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome to episode 2 of Smeltz's personal podcast. For today's episode, I have a very special guest with me. Please welcome for the first time on my podcast, Isaiah Cardenez.
What's up, guys?
Hey, so Isaiah, how do you feel about being on here?
It's pretty cool. I'm honored, yeah.
All right, sweet. So today, me and Isaiah are going to be talking about a very, strong topic, I would say. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to be talking about mental health with you guys, the pros and cons of, mental health for today's episode. So why don't we get started? So, Isaiah, what exactly do you think, what exactly is mental health, really?
Well, mental health is a pretty broad term, but so here's just a quick definition. It's our emotional, psychological, and our social well-being. So basically, it's just anything that's in our head and what we're thinking of that way. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Mental health can definitely have some negatives and positives. Going back, what do you think causes mental health in most teenagers?
Well, I don't think you can cause mental health because everybody has a mental health state, but mental illness isn't decline of a mental health is something that has been rising, and I think that the cause, it can be a lot of different things, but I don't think there's just one cause. So I think something that is pretty relevant today is technology, and while it might not be the direct cause, the things that are on the technology may be causing it, but that's just what I think.
Yeah, for sure. Mostly what I see in most teenagers, when it comes to mental illness, what causes it the most, I think it's got to be anything that's related to social media, in my personal opinion, because some people on social media like to look at other people's lives on social media and think their life pales in comparison 100%, and so then they start thinking badly about themselves, and I don't think that's a good attribute to have on yourself. And so why, honestly, this is kind of a big question. Why do you think it's important to look after our mental, health?
Well, because, I don't know, no one wants to have this mental illness and these different things going on that are especially rising in our generation. So I think that it's pretty important. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We don't want it to get, too out of hand and with our mental illness. And so when do you think mental health, illness becomes an issue? When does our mental health become an issue?
Well, I think that's a pretty broad question, but just it can be from a diagnosis of a mental illness, or it could just be once you can see your own declining in your mental health or of someone close to you. So I think that's just something that you have to, pay attention to your loved ones and yourself, of course, and just pay attention, and it just becomes a problem. Yeah.
Speech, brother. What are some factors that can affect your mental health?
It could be it's a lot of, so like you were saying, it's a social media thing. I think it's also just more than that, but it's social interactions, really, because having these social interactions and depending on what happens in these social interactions can help and affect your mental health. And that's also more than just that. It can, anything that's going on in your life, whether something good or bad happens, affects your mental health, whether you realize it or not. But yeah, for sure. This is kind of a personal question. Have you had any experience with mental health struggles? Oh, for sure. I think everybody has at some point. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything too serious. Everybody has their mental health struggles, whether it just be sad or anything like that. Last year, especially, it was a little bit harder, but, you just have to work on it yourself. And, I mean, yeah, everybody goes through it, including me, had some hard times, but you just work at it and it'll get better, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. One of my main experiences with, when my mental health kind of, got out of control, I think is when, I first, started high school my freshman year, because, I thought, I put my trust in a lot of people, and then those people ended up, being distant and, betraying me, and I just, have had a lot of issues with, my mental health, thinking that I'm, not wanted or loved, but I know that that's not true. Like, I know that I'm loved by a lot of people and wanted by a lot of people as well. And like you said, like, a lot of people go through, like, these mental health struggles, and, like, definitely, like, you should definitely, like, look out for your mental health because it is very important, and you don't want it to, like, get out of hand. Now, to end my question portion, like, what is some advice that you would give to somebody that's going through a mental health struggle?
If you're not already, go get some help, which that sounds like kind of rude at first, but no, like, seriously, seek out some help. Go to a loved one or someone you could trust, and then from there you can see if you need to get diagnosed or talk to a therapist, whatever. Everybody has different needs and things that help them. So explore your options, do what you can, take some time for yourself. Don't stress things too much because you got this. But yeah, that's my advice here.
Thank you, Isaiah. Now, do you have any questions for me that I can answer?
Okay, so what do you think there's such a rise in mental health, especially within our generation in this last few decades?
Ooh, that's actually pretty interesting. Like, I think one of the main reasons, like I mentioned before, it's got to be social media and, like, online, because some people like to look at other people's lives on social media and compare their life to theirs and think, oh man, my life sucks compared to this person, and then they bring themselves down, like, way too much, and, like, I don't think that's healthy. Like, I think the main rise of mental health in our generation has got to be social media.
Okay, well, just playing devil's advocate here, but there's been a rise even before the spike of our generation, before social media. Why do you think that there was a rise even before social media then?
Honestly, that's kind of a hard question to answer. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I think the rise before social media, like, maybe, like, the social interactions with, like, people that people have had with others, and, like, sometimes just with my personal experience with social interactions with others, I thought that, like, I could trust these people, but then later on they started, going behind my back, and I put my trust in the wrong people, and it definitely, like, brought me down. And, like, I just learned that always, like, surround yourself with, like, good people, and they can definitely, like, help you out a lot, especially when you're going through something like mental health illness.
I definitely agree. I think another thing, other than, like, social media and social interactions, is that our communication's been constantly improving. And so as our communication improves, I think that also the more interactions, communication leads to more interactions, which, again, is another thing that with more interactions, there's more chances that the mental health might drop. And, yeah, so I think that's that. But for moving on to the next thing, so why do you think that, like... Sorry, wait. Never mind.
Take your time, buddy.
All right. Shoot. So what do you think about people that self-diagnose themselves, kind of like with, like, these different mental illnesses? Like, a lot of people don't actually get diagnosed, but they self-diagnose themselves with these different illnesses. What do you think about that?
I feel like it's okay to, like, think that you may have depression, but don't automatically, like, self-diagnose yourself, because, like, you could be, like, wrong. Like, you could be false and then, like, diagnose yourself for something that, doesn't even exist, Like, I think it's okay to, like, self-diagnose yourself because, like, you want to know, like, what you have, but I strongly recommend you actually go seek the help that you need to make sure that you know what you actually could potentially have, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, definitely agree. Just do it. Self-diagnose. You can, like, have suspicions that you might have a mental illness, but before just telling everybody that you do have this illness, and that just seek some help, just like homie Smeltz was saying, like, just ask for some help. Go to people, just like I was saying earlier. It's really helpful, and it can help you too. So yeah. Do I have another question? Since you asked me this, what do you have? What are your experiences with the mental health struggles, and do you think that it's still a problem, or what is your experiences? Yeah.
Personally, my experiences with, like, mental health struggles, like I said before, like, it all started when I, like, was a freshman in high school. It wasn't as bad because like I only like got in a fight with like one friend, and like, you know, we were distant over the summer. And then basically my freshman year was taken away from me due to COVID, and like we got shut down in the middle of the year, and I was basically in isolation for a couple months. And I heard that isolation is like one of the main causes of like depression, and like that's not good. Like, don't ever isolate yourself unless it's for like the reasons due to like COVID, like, because obviously you're looking out for yourself and others. But like I think junior year has been kind of a hard year for me, mainly because like I found myself a new group of people and I put my trust in them, and then like just like one little event happens, and you can definitely relate to this. Isaiah was with me. Do you want to explain like exactly what happened down there?
I don't think that's probably not good to tell everybody else, just because I feel that's a little bit of a personal thing that we should leave names out of. So, but yeah, it was definitely a rough thing where people's feelings were hurt, and it was rough, but we got past it. But we should just move on to the next question. So how do you think we can combat these mental health struggles while even in isolation? Because some people still are. So how do we combat that?
Mainly, like, the only reason why like I was in isolation was due to COVID and stuff. And like, if you're just like isolating yourself like just because, like, definitely like I suggest like every now and then maybe like go out and like do something fun with like people who you care about and all, you know, like spend time with people that you love and people who love you and care about you, because like I definitely think that will make you guys like that will definitely help with like if you're going through like depression. Like, spend time with people that love you and care about you and all that.
Oh yeah, I totally agree. But and although like for us we can go to school and stuff, some people, you know, with COVID they still like are isolated, like with different laws in states that they still have to be at home and they don't get to do online or in person yet. So I think that another thing to combat can be to, sorry, I just had it in my head is that we can if you like just like either Zooming or like videoing people that you love, or like just friends, or playing video games, whatever it can be to help you, whatever helps you the best. Just find your ways to cope and to help with this so that you can keep your mental health in a healthy state.
Yeah, and I'm gonna finish the question like Isaiah said, like, something did happen and we don't want to like mention anybody because like that's not right. Basically, it's like it was just a certain event that happened. A lot of people were hurt and feelings were hurt, and I put my trust in a lot of people, and I ended up losing that trust for those people. And it just sucks because like we were all like friends at like one point, and then we just like completely like shifted and like things changed. But I honestly, like, that's just like, sometimes that can just be part of life, like a learning experience. Like, you lose friends, you gain friends, and then you lose them again. But like, don't ever let it affect you. Don't let your past define the kind of person that you are. I feel like that's a big mistake that I've been making, is that I let my past define who I am. And I feel like I should not let that get to me. I think Isaiah's told me that like 100 times.
Exactly, yeah. Your past doesn't define you, so whatever mistakes or different things that have happened in your past doesn't define you. That goes for you, Peyton, goes for me, goes for everybody listening. It doesn't define you. You are more than just what you've done before. You're in the present now, so just do what you can, yeah.
All right, anything else you would like to say to me?
I don't think I have any more questions. Yeah, no, I think that's about it, though.
All right. Advice that I would give to people going through mental health struggles, like, you got this. And like Isaiah said, like, try to get the help that you feel most comfortable with, like whether that's a family member, a counselor, a therapist. If you're going through mental health struggles right now, or you did, like, you got this, guys, like, honestly. All right. Thank you, Isaiah, for joining me.
Of course, yeah. You can follow me on Instagram at Isaiah Cardenez. And if you ever feel the need to reach out to me, anybody listening, you can always DM me. I'll try to get my best to get back to you.
Yeah, I'll be putting something down in the description of this podcast. But anyway, thank you guys for joining me on episode 2 of Smeltz's personal podcast, talking about mental health struggles, the pros and cons of mental health. And thank you, Isaiah, for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Peyton.
Of course. Peace out, guys.